I just finished building the cutest DIY fluted side table, and today I'm going to show you how I did it. I know this looks crazy, but just trust me on it. You're going to start with a 12-inch concrete form tube. Cut it down to the height that you want your table to be. I went with 18 inches. I just used my saw to score it, and then I went back in with a utility knife and cut all the way around. You could also use a multi-tool or even a jigsaw, but it might leave some jagged edges that you'll need to sand down. This left perfectly smooth edges. Once you've got your form cut, you're going to want to add some supports into the top and bottom. This might not be 100% necessary, but since we're working with cardboard for the base, I really wanted to make sure that it was sturdy. I just cut down a scrap 2x4 and drilled it into the top, and then I flipped it over and did the same thing on the bottom. It's going to alter the shape of the form just a little bit, but once you add the trim on, you'll never know the difference. Once that was done, it was time to add trim. I used pine screen trim here. You could also use pull wrap or half rounds, but this was way more affordable. It's really easy to work with, and I really like the look of it. For my 12-inch form, I needed 50 pieces. It ended up being right at 10 pieces of 8-foot screen trim. Once it was all cut, it was time to attach it. I used my favorite DAP wood glue, and for that first piece, I took a little bit of extra time with my speed square to make sure it was perfectly straight and wouldn't leave all of the other pieces angled. From there, I just kept going all the way around the form. All you need to do is add your wood glue and then use a pin nailer to hold it in place while the glue dries. If your nails are a little bit longer, the pins will stick through the concrete form. I wasn't really too worried about that, but you can fold them under or just get really short nails. This might look really tedious, and it is, but the entire table only took me about 2 hours from start to finish. So just put on a good audiobook or a podcast and keep working until you make it all the way around. Once that was done, it was time to add on the top. I just used some wood glue and nails, and I made sure that the top was perfectly lined up and even all the way around. After that was done, I let it all dry for a little bit before I moved on to the final steps. To finish off the table, I took a little bit of time to wood fill each of the little holes that the pin nails made. They really don't leave big holes, but I knew that it would drive me crazy if I looked at it every day, so it just took a few minutes to do this. Once that was all dry, I sanded it down and got the table fully smooth. I started with 120 grit, and then I moved to 220 and finally 400 for a really, really smooth finish on the table. I wanted my table to stay really close to the natural look of pine, so I used Ipswich pine from Minwax to stain it. It really just made it a little more rich, a little more dark, and it's a beautiful color that's going to work so well in the room. Finally, I used a spray lacquer to seal it, and then it was ready to put in place. This little table took me just a few hours to put together, and it cost under $100 total, and I'm so happy with the finished product. It makes me really excited to keep working in this room.